All right. You can go in there, lock at a house for a great price. You solve their situation. So it's a win-win for both sides. Now, there's code violations that you can target. People with code violations. You can target people that, go through probate and are inheriting a house. Those are all great, but there's three that have been very successful for me in my business over the years. And I teach our mentees, I teach our students this all the time to just target these three and you can build a very successful real estate business.
You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to and watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. We're still in the first week of December. I can't believe that this year is almost gone. And met some amazing people, one of which you're going to hear from now. And basically, we have similar backgrounds. We both started out in New Jersey, and we both fled to Florida and have no regrets about it. His name is Sayam Ibrahim. And Sayam, it's great to have you on the show. Man, I had like the best pre-call with you. Inspiring story here. Family, child of immigrants, basically dedicated yourself to education, graduated from a near Ivy League school. Some would say better than an Ivy League school. And here you are doing real estate. The last person, my last guest on this show, he is a petroleum engineer working for Shell Oil, and he's in real estate. So how did that
in, my friend?
How did it happen?
Yeah, so I thank you for that amazing intro, and I really appreciate being on the show. I've been in real estate now for 15 years, but I didn't always do that. So, grew up in New York and Jersey as a kid, raised by two immigrant parents. My mother's from the Dominican Republic, my father's from Ethiopia, and they both met in New York City, right? The melting pot of the world. And growing up, me and my two younger brothers, we were always forced to put our heads in the books. When friends were outside playing basketball or on their bike, my dad was like, no, take out a book and read the book. And at the time, I hated him for it, right? I remember so many times crying, not wanting to do it. But it paid off in the end because it got me a full scholarship to college. I ended up going to Georgetown University. I became a Jackie Robinson scholar as a result, which ended up leading to me getting a job on Wall Street. I'm working for one of the major, investment banks on the street. I did that for a bit, but I absolutely hated it. I worked 80 to 100 hours a week, and I just didn't like the vibe and the lifestyle there. I mean, I had to be there 5 a.m., but wouldn't leave before 11 p.m., Monday through Saturday. And then they asked me after a year to come in for short 10-hour work days on Sundays. So it was about that time that I knew this is not how I wanted to spend the next 20, 30 years of my life. But it really came down to one moment where I wanted to get married to my now wife. And I gave my boss a few months heads up notice that I was going to take a couple of weeks off to get married. And he said, no problem. When the time came, he said, hey, I think I need you to reschedule your wedding because we're way too busy right now. It's busy season.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Really?
Exactly. So I literally took a step back and I said, no, I can't do that. Right. I mean,
You want to kill this guy or what?
I was like, gee, I'm going to kill him. But on the verge of it, right? I was like, I can't do that. So I literally quit Wall Street cold turkey. Right. My parents, my dad particularly told me, you're crazy. You gave up every opportunity of becoming a millionaire. You had everything laid out in front of you and you left for a woman. That's what my dad told me. Right. And so, we kind of lost touch for about a year where he almost wanted to disown me. But I think the result was the right thing. I think it was the right action at the time because 15 years later, I've not only, been in real estate, but I've purchased over 1,400 real estate properties. I've transacted in over $250 million in real estate and built a rental portfolio of over 600 doors in various states, including a hotel in the Dominican Republic. So, I think it was the right decision, right?
And now your time's, and I bet you're not working, 100 hours a week. And if you do, it's something you love and you're happy doing it.
Exactly. I'm doing it for myself if I do, right? So Beautiful thing about real estate is it gives you time freedom. So if I want to put the time in, if I want to go hard, if I want to go aggressive and grow and stretch and really, grow the business, I can do that. If I want to live a nice lifestyle, I can do that as well and take the time and spend the time on the things I want to do. So real estate's been, very fortunate for me and my family.
All right. So you think anyone can do this, or are you just a genius?
No, absolutely. Everyone can do it. Real estate's actually very easy. A lot of people that are in real estate that are, at the big guys in the top, they try to make it sound complex by throwing terms like cap rate, right? Accelerated depreciation. And it's there to keep regular people scared and confused about real estate. When you break it down, it's very simple. You need to buy a property at a good price. You renovate the property and you can sell it or rent it and make cash flow. And all the other details in between it are just noise, right? That you can figure out later. Your main focus as a new person wanting to get into real estate should be on acquisitions. How do I find my first, my second, my third great property? The money, everything else will kind of fall into place because money follows deals in real estate.
So where are you doing your deals mostly? In Florida or?
It's mixed.
Markets, if you like.
We do quite a few deals in South Florida. We've done deals in Central Florida. We do a lot of deals in the Atlanta area. And the bulk of our business has been in throughout Ohio. Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Lima, Toledo, Ohio has been phenomenal. The Midwest is great because the yields, the ROIs are just phenomenal compared to other parts of the country. Your entry point versus what you get on rent or what you can return, sell that property is just, the gap is huge, which you don't see in many other markets.
Right. So better than in Florida, which has been a very hot market as of late. What do you feel about the condos now in Florida? They're getting killed, aren't they?
Yeah. I've done some condos, but I wouldn't recommend new investors to go out and buy condos. There's a lot of regulations that come with it. They have these condo commandos, right, that think they have all the power and don't want to tell you what to do. I actually have a funny story, if you're okay with me sharing it, about a condo I did here in South Florida. I bought a condo a couple years back in Weston, Florida, and I bought it in October, and I went to go start the renovations, and the condo commando, the condo president, said, you can't do any renovations from October to April because the snowbirds are here. We don't want to disturb them. And I was like,
hey, what is it?
So I said, no problem. I'll send the guys home. I told them, hey, come back tomorrow. We're doing this all with hand tools, no power tools. We're going to keep the noise down. It cost me a little bit more, but I got the job done, sold, and made a profit. But, things like that. You have, reserve issues for your end buyer financing. You have, credit score requirements. You have it make it very tough to make a deal work when it's a condo. And I'm not saying you can't make money with it, but as a new investor, I like single family homes. They're easy, they're liquid. There's a huge demand for it, and you limit your restrictions on your resale.
Yeah. So because all the problems with insurance and everything else. So how do you find the properties? And I know that's what all of you out there want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of ways you can find properties. The main thing is you want to find a situation that'll make a seller motivated to need to sell. And due to their motivation, due to their level of distress, all right, you can go in there, lock at a house for a great price. You solve their situation, so it's a win-win for both sides. Now, there's code violations that you can target. People with code violations. You can target people that go through probate and are inheriting a house. Those are all great, but there's three that have been very successful for me in my business over the years. And I teach our mentees, I teach our students this all the time, to just target these three and you can build a very successful real estate business. The first is one that nobody else is doing, and it's something I think your listeners would do very well with, is you go to your local water department where you pay the water bill for your house.
Right.
And you ask, hey, do you have a list of delinquent water bills that are published that you guys can share? If they do, great, get that. If they don't, you can also go to the recorder's office for your county and look up recent utility liens filed. Same thing, okay? Because if a utility bill gets high, the county will file a lien to make sure to get paid when you resell it or refinance the house. And you target that list. People that are $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 behind on their water bill, number one, it means that they're financially distressed.
Yeah.
Number two, if the water bill is $4,000 or $5,000, it probably means that the water's off at the house. All right. And if the water's off, it's more likely
means nobody's there, right?
Exactly. All right. This is open water for you to go fishing with because nobody targets this list of sellers. Get this list. You'll skip trace this list. There's a lot of software you can do.
I'm an expert in that, man. It's like a recovering attorney.
Exactly. It's not that hard. People think it is, but it's actually very easy. There's software, been verified, bad skip trace, depending on if you're doing one or multiple, that you can get the owner's contact information and then you reach out to them and make a deal. So delinquent water bills, the second best one. And I know you did a deal that was from a tax deed, right?
Right.
Past is you target the delinquent tax list. All right. So now you might be thinking, I'm going to go wait at that auction and I'm going to bid. I'm going to buy that property for cheap. And yes, you can get a deal. But guess what? There's a lot of other people just like Kerry. They're bidding on those properties.
Of course, I know. Tell me about it. They've been outbid dozens of times here, Matt.
Exactly. There's a whole lot of competition. You can get a great deal, but there's a lot of competition there. I like to get that delinquent tax list and market to those people 6 weeks, 8 weeks before that auction date. Try to get them on the phone, have an conversation, strike a deal that will allow them to pay off the taxes and put some money in their pocket so they can move on to the next situation in life, all right, with some money in their pocket and stress-free, right? Now, what's nice about this is an A/B conversation, and all those people waiting for the auction never get to bid on the house. You get to bypass.
So should you beat them?
Exactly.
And, like, what's your batting average for these? Because I assume a lot of people are doing similar things. I know for the tax deed list, the tax deed foreclosure list, everybody's after it.
Sure. There's quite a few people going after the tax deed list, but for the delinquent water list, there's no one going after that. All right. I did this list and called 100 people in the span of 30 days, and we're able to host 4 deals off of the 100 of the delinquent water list in just 30 days. Right. So if you only want to buy one, you can bet very high. Right. You can do have a great ratio of accepted offers to offers made. But on average, if you're dealing on a property on the MLS, my numbers have been, I make 25 offers on average to get a deal if it's on the MLS, on the open market. When I'm direct to owner via the tax deed list, the delinquent water list, or retiring landlords, which is one we love to target as well, that number drops to below 10 offers on average to get a deal. Now, I may do marketing to 200 owners to speak to 10 to 15 owners to close a deal. So the numbers work very well in your favor.
All right. I like it. I like it a lot. I like the water thing. I'd never thought of that one, but that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, all right. And then you get it. Obviously, it's going to be a fixer-upper, right?
More times than not, but not always. Sometimes you'll get a great deal, but usually, yes, you've got to do some renovations to get it to the full retail value.
Right. But are you buying it sight unseen mostly?
No, I always look at these properties. That's the beauty of doing it before the auction. If you buy at the auction, you got to buy it sight unseen. You can't get inside. Right. But if you do a deal before the auction, either you or someone that you sent can actually walk the property, get a good repair estimate on it, right, and be able to know what you need to be to make the deal work. So if you do it in a city or state that you're not in, what I would recommend is you employing realtors to be on your team and say, hey, Miss Realtor, I'm negotiating this deal, right, with Kerry Lutz, okay, in New Jersey, okay, and would you be able to walk the property, take a video, and give me a list of repairs you think are needed to get so you can sell this property and get top dollar for it? You'll find that most newer realtors that are hungry for business are willing to get this up work, hoping to get the business. And you'll still be able to lay eyes on these properties and get a good idea of it.
I love it. So, I for a while was consulting to a guy who was teaching a course in foreclosures in Florida, online foreclosures back in the earlier part of the decade before anyone knew you could just go on, and we would go to Lee County and look at these, and they always left the door open somehow, right? We always managed to get in there somehow and obviously they were empty structures. We weren't going into people's homes. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, I know that if you're listening here, you're going to want to get in touch with Sayam, and you're going to want to find out how you can do this. So where do we find you, Sayam?
Absolutely. So look, I'm on IG. So on Instagram, it's Sayam, Sayam. All right. That's my IG name. Same for TikTok. And I also have a YouTube page that we recently started. So we're still growing it. All right. It's Professor Sayam Ibrahim. But what I want to do for all of your listeners is I'm going to give you guys the phone number. I'm going to give all your listeners a free class, all right, on funding, the different ways you can strategically and creatively fund your first real estate transaction, because you don't need a lot of money to do real estate, because there's a lot out there for real estate. So all your listeners, all they need to do is text HERO, HERO, to 689-215-7664, and you're going to get access to our free course on funding, our Millionaire Funding course, so you'll understand how you can fund your first, second, third, and your 10th real estate deal without having to use all your money to do it.
All right. Sounds great. It's in the show notes, and take a look while you're on the site, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Sign up for our free newsletter, like over 60,000 other FSN community members have. And Sayam, we'll definitely have you back on again. If there's a question for Sayam, myself, shoot me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.